Hey warrior, welcome to day 6 of the 7-day intro to food freedom. Yes, got it. I hope you guys are enjoying the content this week, and I'm working really hard to make sure I answer all of your questions, so please keep asking them. I'm going to do a live Q&A with you in a few days, so definitely check that out. And if this is your first video with us, hi, welcome. I usually am not wearing such nice clothes. I'm usually in fitness clothes, but today I thought I'd wear a dress, so you're welcome. So anyway, I want to get right into the content today. We are gonna just touch on the stages of binge eating recovery. I think this is a really important topic because often people feel really lost in recovery and don't quite know, like, if I'm making progress, am I moving backwards, like, where do I lie? So I thought this might give some clarity into where you lie in the level of progress. So maybe you worry that you're like moving too fast or you're moving too slow. I know often people in the warrior evolution want to make sure that they're keeping up with the lessons, but honestly, the right pace is the pace that's right for you. That's all I can really say about that. The best thing that you can remind yourself of is, I'm taking the steps to recover, I'm doing the work, and then like do something that represents you taking the action. Do something right in that moment that represents you doing the work right there and then, because that little moment is you getting through an obstacle that your mind is putting in front of you. So what we're gonna do right now is just go through the 5 stages, and if you're familiar with the stages of change, these will sound familiar to you, and we're gonna put them in the frame of binge eating recovery. So basically, the first stage is what's called pre-contemplation. Like, this is the point where you maybe have been sneaking food or eating way past the point of fullness, and maybe a friend or a family member has noticed maybe something is wrong or questioned or just made a comment about your eating behaviors, maybe even tried to talk with you about it, but you don't see a problem yet. So you are resistant, you don't feel like you need help. And this can also be like, you could also might take offense to their reaching out to you because you just don't see it yet. So real quick, I have a story of when I was in pre-contemplation mode, and I was dating this guy at the time, and I was kind of like right in like the beginning of my binge eating recovery, but I was secretly eating food often. I would go and I would eat in my car before work. Like, I would buy like granola bars, like a box of granola bars, and I would just eat all of them in the box before I would go into work, which obviously made me feel awesome. Not at all. And anyway, I was dating this guy, and he came over my house, and I think my sister had just made like a fresh batch of cupcakes and had put icing on it. And now cupcakes were a no-no. You're gonna notice why I use cupcakes on purpose in the warrior evolution. It's because cupcakes to me were like forbidden food, major. Can't have them, can't be near them, can't let anybody else see me eating them. I was like, no, cupcakes are a bad food. I don't eat cupcakes in front of people. If I was left alone with cupcakes, I would finish all of the ones that were made. So my sister had just made this fresh batch of cupcakes, iced them and all, and my boyfriend came over, and there was no way that I was gonna eat a cupcake in front of him or let on that I was. And it didn't seem like a problem to me. It just was, it's like an emotional response. Like, he can't see me eating that because then he'll know that I eat cupcakes and that's a bad thing. He'll be disgusted with me. This is what I was telling myself at the time. And so I hope you can trace like the disordered thought patterns throughout this. But anyway, so he left the room for like a few minutes to go and get something from his car. And as soon as he left, I took a cupcake and I threw it in my mouth and I downed it. Definitely didn't taste it, definitely didn't enjoy it. But he came back into the house and gave me a kiss. And as soon as he did, he was like, you taste like icing. Did you have a cupcake? And I was like, frozen, like freaking out, embarrassed, paralyzed with guilt and shame and just all these feelings. And still, I didn't recognize or have insight into that there was an issue in my thinking. So that's just my example of pre-contemplation. Stage 2 is called contemplation, where you have you have disordered thoughts about eating. You may even acknowledge, I have an eating disorder. You may have started to think about getting help, but you're not really sure what to do, and you kind of feel stuck between your desire to get better and your need to keep binging. Because, like we mentioned earlier this week, binging on food and emotional eating, they do fill a need that we have. It's just about figuring out what that need is that it is coping for. So again, like in the midst of my first year of like really using binge eating as a coping mechanism and feeling out of control with it, I remember doing some work. Ironically, I was studying for my registered dietitian exam, and I was doing some work, and I Googled Overeaters Anonymous, and all this information came up. And right away, I felt like both the feeling of this is me, and I'm so ashamed, and I could never go into an Overeaters Anonymous group or anything like that because I don't look fat enough. And what if they get offended? Or what if I'm ridiculed when I'm there? Or what if I walk in and they say like, you don't belong here? And that feeling just rushed over me, and I closed my laptop and I went back to dieting and said, I'll figure it out on my own. So that to me represents my stage of pre-contemplation. Stage 3 is called preparation. And in preparation, you're ready to change. You just need to get started. And in this stage, you may reach out to a therapist. You're going to work with someone to like learn to cope and stress and deal with other problems without food. So this is the point where you're really starting to like become aware of things and put some of the work in. At this time in my life, I had reached out to somebody online. I was looking to work sort of like this with an online therapist, nutritionist, to help me with my eating habits. I didn't still quite connect that it was the binge eating and the behavior. I still thought it was the food that I needed to get under control. But I will tell you, back in 2012, there were many options of this online, and I didn't really know where else to turn. I also started talking to a social worker at that time through my college, and I was telling her little by little as I sort of began to trust her more and more about my eating behaviors and about how they were affecting me, and how it was, I remember it being so difficult for me because I was still so filled with shame and guilt, and I was very, very embarrassed. But that was my first step in the preparation phase with my own recovery. So in this stage, even talking to somebody, anybody that you truly trust, close friend, family member, that you can share, it could be like a support team of people that you truly trust in your life. It doesn't necessarily have to be professional, but I consider preparation to be like, I'm going to share this burden that I'm carrying with another human and be super vulnerable and take that step because I need support in this moment. I think it's one of the most powerful steps, actually. So stage 4 is the action phase, right? And this is when you have a plan, you have a strategy, you have your support group in place, and you are tackling your behaviors. You're going to battle as the warrior that you are every single day. And you are choosing recovery every single day. And you are learning new tools, and you are certainly making mistakes, and you are getting back up. So I will be really honest with you and say that I let my ego and my stubbornness and my fear of letting people see me fail, letting people see me not look a certain way, not be a certain way, in my way and get the best of me. And this prevented me from like actually getting any real help through my recovery from like a true support team. And that hurt me. And it hurt me in the way that it took me way longer to recover than I think somebody with a coach, a therapist, in a group support program would take to recover. It took me years, a long time. I'm talking 2012, 5 to 6 years. And that's because I kept making the same mistakes over and over, and I didn't know what to do, and I was trying and I wasn't trying, and I was just continuing to do it the same way that I thought it needed to be done, without looking into that pie piece that I talked about the other day of what I didn't know that I didn't know, and really reach out. So I did it on my own. It took me way longer than it could have taken me. And if I knew what I knew today, if I knew back then what I knew today, I would 100% get a coach, and I would 100% join a group program, because the momentum of a group, the momentum of having other women who you can relate to and your struggle you can relate to, and seeing them, there's power in group. There's power in community. There's a reason why people just do things, because of the community that they are a part of. So I would 130%, 150% do that if I could do it again. And the last stage is maintenance. So maintenance is great. You've been doing the work for, I would say, like about 6 months. Again, this is relative, but you've learned to eat in a more nourishing way for your body. You learn to listen to your body. You are learning tools. You are gathering new tools. You're trying things on, seeing if it works for you, seeing if it doesn't. You are talking to yourself in a different way, and you are seeing the patterns repeat themselves over and over, and you are learning to break them faster and faster. This is a powerful phase. And I think people get scared of maintenance. It's like, well, now what do I do? Like, once I am in action, so I feel like maintenance is honestly ongoing. And for me, it just feels like life. After a while, maintenance is just you doing the work every single day, or it just becomes a part of you. It's just what you do. It's rare that you turn to food, but when you do, like, it's rare that you turn to food to cope, or to out of stress, or to deal with an emotional discomfort. But when you do, you realize, like, hey, this isn't behavior that I practice anymore. And you check in with yourself, and you know that when maybe you're noticing little urge thoughts, or your behaviors with food kind of sliding into a direction that feels like it's not serving you, you are going to see, hey, maybe something's up with me, and reflect and ask yourself, like, am I getting enough self-care? Am I balancing out the needs that I really have for myself? Am I doing the things that I need to do to keep my mental health at a good place? When's the last time that I moved my body, or when's the last time that I grounded myself? Am I doing the practices that really help me stay and feel the best person that I love to show up as every day? Am I doing those, or have I let other things get in the way of those? So it won't be like a self-berating experience. It will be like a, what's up? Like, what's up, babe? What's going on? I know that this isn't something you normally do, so, like, let's talk, or let's journal about this, or let's care for ourselves a little bit. And you'll offer that space to yourself to figure out maybe what's not aligned in your life, or where you need a little bit more nourishing, or some more self-care, or whatever need you're not fulfilling. You'll be able to fill that and realize that it's not about the food. So I'm going to leave this video here today. I'm going to make sure I wrap up before 15 minutes. And tomorrow is the official last day, day 7, but I have an awesome class. We're going to do some practices together. Definitely not to be missed. It's going to be a little bit longer than this. It'll be about a 60-minute workshop. So come to that if you can. It's going to be tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And if you can't, no big deal. I'm going to have a replay, so all good. And I'm also announcing a really special gift, I guess, tomorrow. And you'll be able to get it if you're on the live. But if you watch the replay, make sure you watch the replay in the 24-hour period, because the gift goes away. The gift only lasts for 24 hours. So anyway, check that out. I'll be sending this in an email. If you have questions, please send them. I'm gathering all the live Q&A questions for later this week, so I'm excited to answer those. And otherwise, have an amazing day, warrior. I'll see you tomorrow.